Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rensler with Skyrender Studios, and today we're going to continue our base defense episode, and I wanted to split these up because I didn't want them to be forever long. I didn't want them to be 30-40 minutes. That's just kind of ridiculous, especially for a tutorial. So this is part 2. Technically it's episode 10. It's really just episode 9, part 2. So I'm going to quickly go over what we did in the last episode, and we're going to move forward, okay? So we're already in the game. What I did is I paused it. Now, this is important. In a single-player game, not multiplayer, but in a single-player game, if you pause it, like right now, it's what we call a hard pause. And this means that the game engine is not simulating anything right now. Nothing is going anywhere right now, so you'll notice that none of my Steam engines down here, although everything is dark because it's night, and the fact that I have it paused and it darks it out a little bit, so you can see the UI a little bit better. But anyway, none of my Steam engines are doing anything. Nothing is being consumed or produced in any way. You'll notice that none of my transport belts are moving. So this is what we call a hard pause, and it's really great because this means that I can leave this here for as long as I need to, and I'm not going to run out of resources or get attacked or any of those things. So that's what I did when I ended the last episode. You'll notice that I just left everything running and then I transitioned into the outro, right? Well, all I did really was hard pause that and save the game. So now I've loaded it and I immediately hit escape to hard pause it again. So we've advanced maybe 1 second from what we had on the last episode. So really, I don't like getting ahead of you guys. That's not how a tutorial should work. So that's not how this one is working. Okay? And I do apologize. My voice is like noticeably worse today, and I don't know why. It's my condition's just getting worse, and it sucks. Okay. So let's get back to this. So let's hit resume here, and everything resumes, of course. So let's take a look at our map real quick, and I want to show you something. Okay, like I explained last episode, the lit up box, that is the very zoomed out view of where my guy is standing right now, right? And this orange here, and you'll even see it moving a little bit, that is my pollution map. So I am polluting all of the air that is in that orange, and that's important because if that overlaps the red up here, then they're going to start sending guys after me. You'll notice that there's a lot of iron up there as well, right? And I don't have a lot of iron here in my main area, and there's just a tad bit over there that's right next to a base, so that's not worth it. So honestly, we're going to have to venture south at some point, south and southwest here, hopefully to not find bad guys, but to find iron, because we're about to run out of iron. We don't have a whole lot left, honestly, we just don't. So I'm really hoping that we're going to find that, and that'll be great. So I'm going to hit M again to get back to the normal menu. Here is what, let me look at my power here, make sure my power's doing okay. So you have to be within range of a pole. Okay, so my power's fine. Alrighty. So what we've done so far, which is not much, but what we've done is we put up a turret. It was important. We researched a turret, and now we have a turret, and it has ammo. This is extremely important. This is exceptionally important, because I need something to protect our base. And if we don't have something to protect our base, we're going to have serious issues, because they will eventually start sending guys towards us, and we will have to defend ourselves. So let me stop yammering, and let's start doing this here. So what you need to build ammunition, normal magazines for these turrets, is just iron, because an assembler can make them. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this here, and all it says is iron plates. It needs time and iron plates. Perfect. So what I want to do is I'm going to push T. Actually, let's just push E for crafting and go to my thing here. It's right here. Okay, so I'm able to make assemblers, or what we call an assembling machine, and they can handle things up to 2 ingredients. They can craft items that require up to 2 ingredients, and of course this only requires 1, right? So I'm going to make an assembler, and I am going to have it draw from the primary iron line. Now this is not scalable, but that's okay, because we're going to have to fix a lot of things anyway, because I don't have scalable iron at all. I mean, this deposit is not very big. So what does it take to make a functioning assembler? Well, it takes obviously an assembler, power, and some inserters, and probably some transport belts. You may use drones later on, things like that, but right now we're going to be using inserters, transport belts, and of course power. So I'm going to get to my power poles, and what I'm going to do is put a guy right there, and you'll notice that it overlaps this area here. So I could put inserters there and an inserter on the backside, and they'll both be powered, and that's what I want. I just don't want to clutter things up with poles, right? So I'm going to go over here to logistics. I'm going to make 2 inserters. So one inserter is to feed this guy iron plates, and the other inserter is to take the finished ammunition magazine and get it off the inserter so I can send it somewhere. And what I'm going to be doing is sending it to my turrets to feed my turrets so they always have ammo. That's very, very important. Exceptionally important. I don't want to use very too much. That's exceptionally important. It really is. So what we're going to do is put our first turret, because I do want to extend this out a little bit. Excuse me there. I am going to, let's see, line this up. Line that up like that. About like that. Okay. So now I have a turret out there. So let's get this guy running. So I'm going to push 4, and we're going to run some belts up here, just like that. And I'm going to hit 3, and I'm going to do this. So now I have an inserter here, and it's going to be feeding this assembler. So how do I use assemblers? Because this is the first assembler we've ever used. So you place the assembler, and you power it. You give it resources, and you give it an output belt. I already know what I want, and I already check to see what I need. Those are called prerequisites or requirements or ingredients, right? So you click on the assembler once. That's a left click. Now it wants to know, what do you want to assemble? And what it will do is it will red out anything that it is not capable of making. And that's because this is not a high enough level assembler. This can handle items, it can craft items up to 2 ingredients. And what I want is an ammo magazine, and it only requires 1 ingredient. So we're going to go over here to combat. We'll notice I have a pistol, and I can make more of those. I have a regular magazine, and I can totally make those, but you'll notice that I can't make gun turrets, and that's because if you look at the recipe list, the ingredients list, there are 3 ingredients. This can only do 2. So that's very important to know. So I'm going to click on my magazine here, and you'll notice it's being fed iron, and it's starting to make magazines. Okay, so if I push E and I get rid of that menu, I have Alt. I always push Alt to highlight things so I understand what's going on. And now you'll see that this guy is making magazines, right? And that magazines are ending up on my belt. This is great. This is perfect, right? So what I'm going to do is go over here to logistics and make some more transport belts. I'm going to need all those belts. In fact, I need more iron. So I'm just going to... Now I'm going to show you guys something that is quite important to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this right there. And what I'm talking about... Actually, no, we do want that, don't we? Let's see. Okay, so we're going to do this in a non-scalable way. I apologize, guys. I'm just trying to think of how I want this to work. Yep, just like that. Okay. So what I want is my iron to always be running. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a chest as a buffer, and I'm going to show you how to do this. This is something I was thinking of yesterday while we were playing a multiplayer server. Myself and Orion and Rev, who are also members of Skyrender Studios, that you will meet later on because we're going to be doing a group series. It's going to be quite cool. So what we wanted to do was this. So I have something that's always pulling from my iron line, and the goal is to always have... I need a fast inserter. I'm going to build a fast inserter. So what I need is something that is willing to give me a buffer. So the chest can hold a lot. It can hold thousands of iron, or thousands of whatever, right? And I want it to do that because I want my iron line to keep producing, and to keep everything moving along properly. I just need to build a buffer in. So it fills the chest, but I also allow things to take from the chest. And right now, since I only have one ammunition assembler right now, it's okay just to feed it directly. This is not scalable at all. And you could see how much faster this assembler is, right? It is extremely fast. They're awesome. They're roughly twice the speed I think they're roughly twice the speed of a normal. Okay, and now of course we want to do the same thing to the ammo. So what we're going to do is get the ammo out to our turret. So the turret is going to be on the outside, right? So what we want is we need room for the inserter, so we're going to put the belt right here. So what you want is the back or front or side of a turret, then one space, and then your belt, and that's because you're going to be using that, an inserter. And of course, you do need power, so you need to think about it. Make sure that your turret is adequately protecting your power grid, right? So we're going to notice that that's like that. So I normally just put the pole right next to the inserter. So now you have a turret being fed ammunition, and of course it has power. Now this is actually unsafe because if you put the power pole too close to the edge of the turret, one of the natives may come by and start beating up on the turret, but they also may start beating up on that power pole, which has far fewer hit points. It's easier to destroy, and what that means is if they manage to take out that power, now that inserter doesn't work, and eventually that turret's going to run out of ammo, and they're going to get what they want. They'll end up with a defenseless turret, something that it would be shooting at you, but there's no ammo, right? Okay. So what we're going to want to use is a splitter, because we need to be able to run this the other direction for our other turrets here. Wow, I can't talk today. Alrighty. So all of this ammunition is just waiting for this guy. And maybe we don't need to do that, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy, we're going to turn it around, just like that. Take this guy out. And what you need are 3 empty spaces. And you need 2 inserters and a chest. So we're going to use a... And there's a stack of iron in there, so I'm just going to take that. Okay. And we're going to make an iron chest. Okay. So we take an iron chest, we put it here. We take 2 inserters, and we go like that. Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a chest in the way, and on purpose, to create a buffer. That way, if we start producing way faster than we can consume, then we have a surplus, which is what I want. That kind of clutters up that, but... So right now I have a 1-to-1 surplus, but it's something, right? Alrighty. So now I have a lot of extra ammo. So what I'm going to do is actually go like this and put that in there. Oh, I guess it doesn't work that way. There it goes. Okay, so I can't apparently use an insert and put it directly into one of these guys. I haven't tried that before, so that makes sense. We all learned something new together, guys. Right? Okay, so let's... Because this guy is going to have to be defending north. I'm just going to draw my transport belt network. Perfect. Right, kind of like that. Except not really. Because it has to go up here. And I'm short by only a few. So I'm going to make a few more transport belts. Now I am going to stop explaining the super basics because we are on episode 9 and we are at base defense. I mean, honestly, if you do have to relearn these things, then that's fine. Then please go to an earlier episode so you can get your learn on. Okay, so not only do we have power poles, because I want this pole right here, but now I have an inserter. And now this guy has ammo. There we go. So now we have an ammo network, and we have turrets. So that's going to help immensely, right? And what I may do is just place out more turrets here. So I have a specific spacing for turrets, and I'm going to show that to you right now. So what you do is you take a turret and you make it adjacent to an existing turret, and this counts as 1. And every 2 spaces that you move, it counts as 1. So this means 1 and space 2, space 3, space 4, space 5, and then place. This is a decent, to me, this is a decent spacing of turrets to where you get density, but you also get area coverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, that's 1 extra. 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And now what we would do, the smart thing to do, honestly, is to take this belt and turn it the other direction. So it would wrap outside and then wrap back in, and that way I don't have to use a splitter. So that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to grab these guys. Turn that belt around so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. And what we'll do is here like this. And we'll rotate that guy there. Okay. We're going to run this along just like that. And I'll grab more belts. And of course we can come over here to our iron and just pick up like 100 iron at a time. Cool. Okay. Then we're going to make, let's see, 3 inserters. So this is base defense, guys. Just letting you know, this is the base defense episode. And after this, we are going to, I believe we've already researched it. Let me just make sure here. We have not researched, oh, okay, we haven't researched walls. So we're going to hit research on walls. And I'm going to have to make the science packs for that. And we're going to put up a pile of walls. And we're going to physically secure our base, not only with the turrets, but we're going to have a physical barrier 360 degrees around our entire base. So you know what? This is going to go into an episode 3, guys. It's going to be crazy. It's going to go into episode 3, so you're going to get that episode on a very special Saturday release of an episode. So this has been episode 2 of the base defense for Factorio tutorial. This is technically episode 9, part 2, or episode 10, whatever you want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys have been awesome. And keep your stick in the ice, peace and chicken grease, and I'll see you in 24 hours or less.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent.